Warning: viewer discretion is required. This video is about solo queuing on the official paid man-up servers, where the primary objective is to winning the game and requires a good amount of cooperation. If you're playing with stacks of friends, you can laugh it off when something goes wrong. If you're playing community servers or boot camps, you can play whatever you want because it's not paid to play. Please keep this in mind while watching this video. Thank you.
Monkey pyro, fuck you, monkey pyro, fuck you!
Holy shit, retard, F4, you fucking retard, you useless fucking retard, F4.
Heavy, get the fuck away from my dispenser. I literally don't give a fuck that you have 255 tours. Don't be a fucking idiot.
Soldier, if you're gonna run one more fucking time, I will take this Australian fucking wrench, shove it up your fucking ass.
MBM is toxic. But why? Most discussions on this question end up blaming on high tours elitism and stops there. People prefer framing and villainizing someone or some group rather than having a proper conversation. Typical internet thing, no surprise. But seriously, why is MBM toxic? Where has MBM toxicity originated? Why do people lose their temper in MBM? Why do people enforce the meta strategy on others? It is a far more complex issue than you think. Systemically encourages toxicity, players' class preferences, an ambiguous balance between fun and efficiency, tendency and prejudice, and hatred built over a long time. All these points composed into one is what we call an MBM toxicity issue. Not something you can summarize with just a few sentences. To understand and ultimately solve this issue, we should take a deeper look into this. Alright then, let's start with this. What are the base elements of the MBM? Answer for that, I'd pick these four. 6-man co-op, a common objective, pay to play, and random loot. That means we can simplify the MBM like this. Pay an entry, and as a party of 6, move a rock from here to there to get loot. Rinse and repeat. A Sisyphus diagram, I'd say. The mass of the rock represents the difficulty of the mission. Let's say the average difficulty of Operation 2 Cities is 50 and an average player's power is 10. That means at least 5 players are required to push the rock. Under a perfect condition in which everyone shares an equal amount of tasks, it'll be a breeze. But we know that that kind of utopian condition can never happen in the real world. In practice, the power of each player varies a ton. Some players can barely pull out 1 force, while some can easily pull out over 30. With this kind of team, naturally, the more power you have, the more work you need to do to reach the goal. Now think of this. If you're a man pushing the rock the hardest, what will you feel when you spot that one of your teammates is just merely touching the rock? You must share the fruit. That's why nobody likes free riders on your team. It does not feel fair. Not only in MBM, but also in sports, school group projects, and company tasks, this applies to everything involving team cooperation. The difference is, MBM provides you with a quick and easy way to remove them from your team. But if you're a generous man, you might not care about carrying 1 or 2 incompetent players. Why bother kicking them when we can teach them? I agree. Only if they listen. What if they straight up ignore your words and keep being a burden? What if they even sabotage the game for fun, disregarding others' experiences? Are you sure the kick vote button won't tempt you even under this condition? Still, if you are an extraordinarily generous man, you might be able to embrace them. At least the loot will be good after all those hard works, right? I mean, you did most of the task. You deserve to get something better than them. That's the point where the infamous random loot system stabs you in the back. Loots are 100% determined by the RNG. Your performance doesn't affect the outcome. You, who carry the team, and the guy who's been nothing but a burden the entire time, or even sabotaged the game, have the same chance of getting an Australian. Very fair, isn't it? You might argue that, still, the chances are the same. In the end, it'll round up even. Just don't care about it. Problem solved. But for each individual, the very existence of that chance is the issue. Imagine a lottery machine with a low chance of getting you win nothing and forced to watch your most hated one winning a jackpot. Who would ever want to spin it? So this is the answer. Where has the MBM toxicity originated? From the MBM's own system. The system itself is what brews the feeling of unfairness in players' mind. And that feeling can very simply and very quickly turn into hatred, what we generally call toxicity. High tours good, low tours bad. Common prejudice in the MVM community, and people hate to see it. They say the tour counter and the skill level aren't the same. True though, some high tours who just brainlessly burnt their time in Man-Up can be worse than low tours who have thousands of hours of community MVM experiences. That's why people hate it. You don't know me. How dare you assume I am a terrible player based on a number representing nothing? But there's one point they often overlook: the tendency. Let's view this from the other side. Do you remember the MVM statistics video I uploaded a few months ago? In that video, I showed you guys that low tours perform significantly worse than high tours. Let me show you the chart again. Note that I set the good player bar pretty low here. We know bad high tours and brilliant low tours exist, but the statistics clearly say those cases are a minority. Under this condition, can you really say that anticipating a low tour teammate to show a bad performance is wrong? The same tendency reasoning shows up when high tours enforce the meta too. Even with a stable and well-known meta strategy, you cannot assure it'll work. Then, how can you expect an off-meta strategy to work with random teammates? Meta is meta for reasons. Though I'm against meddling too much with minor things when things are going smoothly. Anyway, you might argue, still, like the presumption of innocence, we need to assume they are good. That's what's right. Okay then, let's say one high tour decided to trust on low tours. If everyone's good, there's no issue. But what if they are awful? Just because this high tour trusted those awful low tours, he had to carry the team alone, just for the loot governed by RNG, which can stab you in the back if you're unlucky. So while people say, "You don't know me, how dare you assume I am a terrible player based on a number representing nothing?" High tours can say back like this: "The tendency says, with the number, there's a high chance of you performing poorly. Why do I have to trust you without knowing, risking my time and energy?" It gets even blurrier if that high tour is someone using a soft method, which is leaving instead of both kicks. Can you really say these players are a villain? Both sides have valid reasons, but they can't agree on the other before they play a game together. It's a dilemma. Should we allow prejudice cause tendency proves it, or should we disallow it for those unlikely minorities? Guess you can see why I said this isn't an easy problem to address. Here's the catch. Why do new players show this high bad rate? If you think about it, it doesn't make sense. I recorded them as bad only if they didn't even know the basic things, such as what loadout to use, crucial upgrades, how to deal with Uber medics, etc. If they play the tutorial, they should know these basic things at least. If you're a new player, this is what you'll see. No tutorials, no tooltips, just difficulty advanced and a preposterously rare chance at an Australian weapon. Of course, it caused a flood of incompetent players. I'm no exception. I vividly remember trying to queue up for Operation Oil Spill when I was a newbie cause people said Australian drop in MVM. Back then, when the Smithmas Socks gave you a free Man-Up ticket, it was even more disastrous. It made it nearly impossible to play a solo MVM on Smithmas season. Guess that's one of the reasons why it got removed. Moreover, the inexistence of a tutorial not only ruins the gameplay but harms the community too, cause it brews a blind hatred against veteran players, so-called high tours. New players don't know the basics of MVM, so even if they are actively sabotaging the team, they don't recognize it. There's a high chance of them kicked in that case. But even if the new player got kicked for a good reason, it only brings this thought to their mind. What did I do? Guess high tour players are assholes. Ignorance can flip the assailant and the victim like this. I know a handful of high tours got corrupted by this hatred. Here's a guy infamous for sheer toxicity against low tours in the Asian TF2 community. It might be hard to believe, but this guy was a chill, friendly player a few years ago. I know this because he was one of my friends. The last time I saw him, he became a member of one of those toxic high tour groups. Like no one is born as a high tour, no one is born toxic. They become toxic. I won't say that they're innocent, but it's a sad truth. The inexistence of a tutorial not only ruins the gameplay, it works as a foundation of hatred aimed at each other, between veteran players and new players, so-called high tours and low tours. It's even more tragic cause it's no one's fault but Valve themselves. So yeah, MBM needs a proper tutorial. Then you might say the community guys can do it for that, but do you really expect people will watch 30-minute long guides before queuing up for a game? Better than nothing, but it's just a band-aid. It cannot be a proper treatment. Unfortunate, but I think it's unsolvable unless Valve take action, which is unlikely. We've been talking about high tours and low tours, but that's not the only one thing that factors the MBM toxicity. We know that even players with a good tour number and a decent skill level are not safe from the maelstrom of toxicity. My conclusion is, it's because of the playstyle difference of each player. I found out that two factors compose players' playstyles in MBM. Value the loot more or the gameplay more, and value the efficiency more or fun more. Let's place them on the chart to get us a clear visual. Playstyles position chains following how much they weigh each factor. I'll split it into 4 to name each playstyle. People who weigh efficiency and loot are the gamblers. They prefer fast and smooth games because they want to earn their loot by spending as little time and energy as possible. People who weigh fun and loot are the casuals. They play MBM because of the loots too, but they are down to try out some wacky strategies when possible. People who weigh efficiency and gameplay are the speedrunners. They are interested in optimizing each mission. They sometimes even play without getting loot because they just like the feeling of strategies clicking. Finally, people who weigh fun and gameplay are the endeavors. They like to try out wacky new strategies every game, such as Demo Knight, Spy, Huntsman Sniper, Revengeneer, and many others. None of these 4 playstyles is inherently wrong. No problem will occur as long as they respect each other's playstyle. As long as. If players go extreme and cross the line, any of these can become toxic in some form. The gambler becomes the addict. They only care about earning their loot as fast as possible. They don't care about how many low tours they kick or how many innocent they ravage. The casual becomes the selfish. They play as they want and don't care even if it's sabotaging the team. Paradoxically, they force their teammates to play under the meta strategy because they want to get their loot fast. The speedrunner becomes the anti-fun. They optimize the game too well, you can't have a single chance to kill a robot while playing with them. And, of course, they'll try to kick you if you mess up their optimal speedrun in the slightest. The endeavor becomes the digester. They don't care about cooperation or winning the game for loot. They play for their fun and their fun only. Teammates only mean slaves working for their fun for them. These atrocious playstyles create a toxic atmosphere in the community by forcing their ideas without understanding or respecting others. It'll get resolved if everyone tries to understand each other. But as we know, that kind of utopian world is unlikely. These were the 4 points I wanted to talk about. Systemically encouraged toxicity, tendency and prejudice, inexistence of a tutorial, and friction between different playstyles. Do you still think the problem is high tours and high tours only? It all comes down to the lack of respect for each other. Whether you're a veteran or a newbie, if you act rude and selfish, you're toxic. Remember, everyone's here to play and win a game, spending their time and money. You're not the only one who's playing. Respect others. Now you might ask, so how can I fix this? Please don't tell us you made this video without proposing a solution for this. It's irresponsible. Unfortunately, every lobby of MBM is different, so I can't give you guys a universal solution that works every time. However, yes, I do have 3 ideas that can help to deal with the toxicity in MBM. 1. Wave 1 meta rule. You have the least amount of money on wave 1, and also, it is the wave that people leave the most so they can avoid losing too much time. So if your teammate is skeptic about your open meta pick or upgrades, show them that you're competent by playing a wave with the meta class and loadout. After proving yourself a trustworthy player, your teammates will get more open towards your off-meta strategies. 2. Feel free to leave. In MBM, you don't receive any penalties for leaving the server. Your ticket doesn't disappear and no queue time penalty for you. So, if you happen to meet an extremely toxic lobby or an ungodly ignorant lobby that you don't want to play on, feel free to press that exit button. Sometimes it's wise to avoid the problem than fight against it. 3. Have a healthy, friendly conversation with your teammates. 99% of the problems are resolvable with proper conversation. If you don't know something or want something, ask them. Nobody knows that you require help if you don't say it. And consider utilizing the power of these words. Please, would you, and thank you. It may sound trivial, but polite words do much more than you think. You'll be surprised. And number 0, read the guides. I know it's boring, but it's the best option we have at the moment. MBM isn't a cakewalk. No need to live under the idea of meta forever, but if you ignore it without understanding, it is nothing but an idiotism. Jumping in without knowing anything will bring you and your teammates a terrible experience. However, MBM isn't hard either. If you and your team know what to do, literally any team composition works. So, learn, practice, and try out various strategies. I'll link some quality MBM guides worth reading in the description. Check those out if you're interested in playing. And lastly, I'd like to say this. MBM is a fun game mode, and it's not toxic as much as the community thinks. While playing 100 games of Operation 2 Cities for statistics, I have only met 2 or 3 toxic players. I know that extremely toxic players exist, and I understand the negativity bias. But still, Man of MBM is a ton of fun, not something you should completely ignore because of those rumors. Feel free to give it a shot. You might not like it, but who knows, it might fit you. And remember those tips I've given you. It'll help you a ton on your journey. I really hope this video will help the community address the MBM toxicity issue. In the end, making everyone who plays MBM have a fun and friendly experience is where we need to aim, right? Alright, thank you for watching this video. Let me know your thoughts via comments or my Discord server. Have you enjoyed the video? Learned new things? Also, feel free to criticize this video too. I'm open to those. And then, that's it. Hope to see you guys next time. Have a good day, folks.